What is up, everybody? It is Wednesday, July 6th, around 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the market analysis video. So today was an interesting day. We opened up lower on the SPY and the indexes, much higher on gold, silver, lower on crude. And then the SPY ended up catching a bid throughout the day and was basically bid up and closed near the highs. However, it still wasn't, although the day's range was fairly impressive, the highs weren't all that impressive as far as the previous day. So the previous day was 208.42, and then we closed at 209.66. So something like 0.5% or something, but obviously a larger range on the day on fairly low volume for the size of the bar, and the as much as it traveled. So it was an interesting day that didn't see a whole lot of sellers come in once that initial push, and of course the Fed minutes came out and I'm not sure how you could really interpret them from, so they were kind of split on a rate decision, but obviously this is pre-Brexit, so with that kind of, obviously if they were very dovish and said, oh, we're not going to hike rates, and that was before Brexit, then you can conclude, okay, they're definitely not going to hike rates after Brexit. However, with this, you're kind of like, well, they're probably more dovish, etc. So, but not a whole lot of conclusion that you can draw. It'll be interesting to see really what the jobs report is on Friday. I expect that could be a very telling event. If we get a number that either outperforms or underperforms by any significant margin, we could see a lot of volume and a very frenetic trading day. So with that being said, looking at gold, we moved higher, but then sold off kind of throughout the day, and then kind of hung in there at the close. So it'll be interesting to see where it obviously opened to another high, and so this could end up looking like, oh, it's possibly an island reversal or whatever, like, oh, this is an exhaustion blow off top, etc., etc. People have been saying that all the way along here. We did see some volume, but nothing out of the ordinary for this current move. So the question is, do we, where do we move from here? Do we go, if we were to open lower here, that would obviously be very bearish, and you could say, okay, there's a correction coming possibly back down to touch this 126.50 area, or even 125, 120, anywhere between 127 and 125. But that being said, one day you can't really say that this trend is done. We've had a very powerful move over the last 4 days, and it looks, even though there was a little bit of a stutter today, as far as in today's trading session during normal market hours. Remember, gold trades 24 hours, and so even though the majority of the volume is during the trading day, you got the gaps don't mean as much when you've got futures trading 24 hours. So the fact that gold gapped up and, oh, it's an island reverse, it could be an island reversal, blah blah blah. Islands don't necessarily mean as much in commodities or where futures are being traded over a 24-hour period, and they are obviously, especially when they get decent volume from the Asian and European sessions. So it'll be interesting to see how gold gets bid in the Asian session here tonight. But it has been strong in the Asian session, which is why, and then followed up in the European session, which is why we've ended up gapping up all these days. Anyway, I think I said in my previous video that a measured move from this kind of slope will put us at 137. I still think that 137 is very possible. I mean, obviously we're above 130 here today, so I think 137 is very possible in August. So really, I think my opinion is that we're looking at the very start of a currency war, where we've got this almost global negative yield environment. The Japan 20-year is negative. That's crazy, and I don't think I can't imagine it ending very well if it continues. If they don't say, okay, we gotta pull back on this, but in the meantime, I can't see gold underperforming. It's pretty much, gold and any other currency that isn't negative, which right now out of the majors is, believe the US dollar is the big one, and the Kiwi and the Aussie. So I had to check the Aussie. I'm not sure about that one, but anyway, gold is going to get bid up. I would imagine it can't help but get bid up in a negative yield environment over time. So that's my view on it. Oil opened lower, climbed its way back out of the hole to go higher. So that's again interesting. So if you see this as a support area, obviously touching right on support and not ready to go lower. So I would either expect it to go lower and touch into this high again, but I think I would be inclined to believe that. But it also could go higher from here. I think overall, I would tend to think this goes higher. It's consolidating. This looks like a perfect kind of consolidation thing happening right now, so I think it goes higher from here, and will probably correspond with the SPY. So I think that's part of the reason it got bid up today off of opening lower, same as the SPY. So I think if the SPY continues and makes an all-time high, which I think is possible. So right now, I couldn't tell you what it's going to do tomorrow. We could get another correction back to 205. That was my initial guess as to what was going to happen. But we could just go straight up from here. But either way, I think we go up and touch new highs before sellers come in. And at that point, sellers could come in a big way. That's my current thought. But they could also just come in and knock it back down. And have a continued sideways motion. Obviously, if there's data that comes out or anything that changes the picture, we'll move accordingly. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for in the SPY. But I would expect us to reach all-time highs at least once more, even if there is a large sell-off coming. So, and I expect oil to act accordingly. I think except I have a more of a bullish stance on oil as a commodity priced in dollars, etc. I think that it's got a little bit more staying power. It doesn't have much further down to go, I think, and I think if it does, it'll be propped up. I think they'll probably stop production as much as they are. That's OPEC, so I see it. I think the low is probably in on USO. Real quick, let me look here. We did have one short trade come in today. So obviously with all the volatility and everything, my algorithm stopped trading for a little while. And it's the summer months, but the gap hit a short trade. I actually looking right off the bat here, I haven't looked at this and seen it, so I don't know if there's any M&A rumors or anything that would prevent me from taking this trade. Obviously there's a lot of volume here today, but it is approaching this this little area here where it looks like it had some support that now becomes resistant. So if it were to get into this area, I would happily look at shorting it. With all that being said, God bless. Great trading. Good luck. Thanks.